Hello everybody, in this video we are going to be looking at lists in Python. So what are lists? So lists are ordered collection of mutable items that allows duplicates. So they are ordered, these are the key points: ordered, mutable, they are a collection of items and they allow duplicates. So let's look at this in action. So to create a list, use square bracket. So I can create a list. Let me create a list of fruits. So I can use double quotes for strings. So I can continue to create. What other fruits do we have? So we can have mango. We can have orange again. We can have banana. So let's leave it like this for now. So let's go ahead and give it a name like fruit. So if you print fruit, see what we have. So we have this list of items. Okay, so what other type of list can we create? We can also create a list of numbers. So I can use numbers. I can have 1, 2, so 5, 3, 2 again, 3, can be anything, 9. Okay, so let's have that. So we can also print numbers, and then we have this beautiful. We can also have a mixed list. What do I mean? So I can have a string, I can have an integer like 23, I can have a boolean which can be either true or false. I can also have a floating point number. So let's give this a name like mixed. Okay, so you can also print this, get your answer. So we can print this. Beautiful. So what are the things that we can do with a list? You've just seen how to create a list. So I can give this create. So what other things can we do? We can read a list. We can read from a list. So let's read. For example, I can read. So there's one thing you need to know. So in Python, number starts from 0. So we start counting from 0, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this list that you are seeing right here, this is at position 0. The index of this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I want to access the items in this list, for example, if I want to access orange, so I can use the index 0. So, and then I can access this. So look at this, I have orange. Can you see that? So if I want to check 1, so I should get apple. So see this, I have apple. So I can check the last item on the list by using -1, like this. So you can see it, banana. So I can check the next second to the last. No matter the length of the list, you can always read through like this. So -2, you get the second to the last. So you can also slice this list. For example, I can read, take for example, I want to read from apple upward. So from apple to banana, I can start reading like this. Look at this: apple, mango, orange, banana. So it starts from here. Can also slice through like this. For example, I want to read apple, mango, orange. So you will exclude this fourth index here. So if you look at it, see apple, mango, orange. So it starts reading from the first, from the number 1 index, and then it stops at the third one, excluding the fourth index that you stated here. So you get that. So that is how you can slice from a list. You can do anything. So you can try a bunch of things on your own. You can also read, like, let's say you can read -2. For example, you can see everything before orange. So look at this, we can see orange, apple, mango. So everything before this second orange right here. So you can see that. So you can go ahead and try a bunch of other stuffs on your own. So how else can we read through a list? So you can read like this by reading through the index. For example, I want to see the index where we have apple. So you can look at it, 1. It is at index 1. You can see that. Okay, you can also count. So you can print, so let's look at this fruits dot count. It counts the number of occurrence. You can read this here. So it counts, look at this, return number of occurrences of value. So we can count the number of occurrence. Let's take orange for example. So we can count the number of occurrence of orange. It has 2. So because it occurred twice. Okay. The same can be applied to numbers, like for example 2. You can see the number of occurrence of 2. So I change this to numbers dot count 2. So we can see 2 here because 2 appears twice. For example, if you count 12, you should get 1 because it appears only once. You should get that. So that is straightforward. So what else can you do? So you can count, you can check the length of this list. You can check the length. You can check for fruits. You can check for numbers. Look at this. So get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the length. You can check for mix. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So she expects to get 4. So look at this. So we have 4 items on this list. So let me clear my terminal now. So and then let's see other ones. So we can update this list. Okay, how can we update? You have a bunch of methods. So you can append to this list. So I can add one more fruit here. Let me say I want to add cherry. So I can add cherry. So if I print fruits now, so let me comment this ones out. Okay, so command and / on Windows, on Mac rather, it is command and / and on Windows it is control and / after you highlight it. So I can print fruits now. So look at this. So we've added cherry to the end of this list. So he appends at the end of a list. So what are that ones? So we can also extend, like add a list to this list. So we can add a list to this list. What do I mean? So I can do something like this. I can add, for example, I can add rice. I can add beans. So I can add a list to this list. So if I print now, look at this. So we have rice and beans at the end of this list. So this is beautiful, right? So let me comment this one out too. So we have rice and beans to the end of this list. So it's like adding a list to a list. Okay. So there is also a method there is a method that we can use, like insert. So this takes 2 arguments. Look at what it does. So for example, peradventure I want to insert something at this position. Okay, so I'm going to use the index, that will be the first argument, and the item. So for example, I want to add almond at this position. So what I'll do is that I'll take this position 0, 1, 2. So the index is 2. So then I'll add the item like this. So I can add almond like this. So if you print fruits now, let's see what we have. So you can see that I have added almond at this position. So this is beautiful. So we have a lot of update methods. Let me say a few of them. So for example, we have numbers that sort. We can sort a list in an ascending order. So if I print numbers now, I want to sort these numbers in an ascending order. You can see that they are unorderly. So if I print it now, so look at this. It is now in an ascending order. So it also has an argument. It takes an argument like reverse equals to true. So if you print numbers now, this is going to be in a reverse order. So you can see this 12, 9, 5, and so on. It's now in a reverse order. So that is that about update. So we can also delete. So we can delete from this list. For example, we can do something like remove. So I can remove an item. So you can remove. So you can always read what a method does by hovering over it like this. Okay, there is something I can also show you too. Take for example, now we've appended to this list. When now we have rice and beans, but it is no more fruit because rice and beans is not a fruit. So I can do something like this. If I highlight it, then on Mac you can double tap your mouse pad, or you can control and right click. So depends on what works for you. So here I'm going to look at it. So on Windows you highlight and you control. So maybe control and right click also. So look at it here. Change all occurrences. So the shortcut is Command and F2 on Mac. But I believe on Windows is Control and F2. Honestly, I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to change this. So I can change this to food. Now they are all food. You get that? So I can print. Let me print first of all. So I can print food. Because it changes all the occurrence. You can see that it has changed from here too. It has changed every occurrence. So that is a beautiful feature. So if I print food, everything is now printed here. Beautiful. So I can also delete. So let's look at our delete operations like fruits. Okay, so now it's food now. So I can remove. So look at this. What do we want to remove? So let's look at what we can remove from this list. So we can remove orange since we have 2 instances of orange, or 2 orange in this list. So we can remove orange. But what it does is that it removes first occurrence of value. So it's going to take this first occurrence off. So if you print food now, look at this. So we no longer have orange here. So it has taken this off and this one remains. So we have other delete operations. So we can pop, we have the dot pop method. So for example, you can pop the last item. So by default, this removes the last item. So it pops the last item. So look at this, we no longer have beans. So if you keep on doing the pop, like if you keep on popping, it's going to keep on removing the last item. Look at this. So you have remove this, remove this. So let me take this back. You can also remove at an index. For example, take for example, we want to remove almond. So we can use the index 1 for almond. So if I use 1, almond is going to be taken off. So look at this. We no longer have almond on this list. So this is a beautiful feature that you can use. We also have one delete. So you can delete food. So you can delete the first item. You can delete, the first index, the second index. Depends on what you want to do. But in this example, I'm going to remove the last 2 items. So we're going to use 2 and this. So let's remove rice and beans. So look at this. So now we remove the last 2. Okay, so this doesn't work because we've done dot pop a couple of times. So let me print it again. So because we've done dot pop a couple of times, so it has removed 2 items and then remove the next 2. So we are left with 2 items. So that is that. So remove the last 2 items. If I take this out now, you can see this clearly. Let me print food first of all. So you can see that we have this. Okay. So we have this. So actually what I did was I removed from the second index. I beg your pardon. I removed from the second index. That's why we have everything removed. So we want to remove the last 2. Look at this. I'm going to use a -2, like rice and beans. So look at this. So it removes rice and beans. So earlier what I did was I removed from the second index like this. So but now we are removing the last 2. So we have removed rice and beans. So this is beautiful. So then what else can we do? So we also have the dot copy method. So we can, okay, so this is food right now. But now that we don't have rice and beans again, we cannot name these fruits. So we can duplicate this list as a new list. So we can now print fruits. So if I print fruits now, See what we have. So we have a list of fruits. So this is nice, right? We also have, finally, we can clear this by using fruits.clear, and then we have an empty list. So look at this. Finally, we have an empty list. So these are the methods and some of the things that you can do with fruits. But actually, this copy is a create operation. I believe it's a create operation, so I'm going to take it here. So it should be a create operation. So these are some of the things that we can do with a list. But these are the basics. So in my upcoming courses or videos, so I'm going to be showing you some advanced concepts like looping through a list comprehension, and so on. But there is something I want you to take away from this. When we say they are ordered, they are in a particular order. So that's why we can access them by their index. That's why we say they are ordered. They are mutable. It means that when you have created this list, you can remove, you can add, you can modify the list, like we have done, like append, extend, and so on. So we can modify after we have created. And when we say they are collection of items, look at them. They are collection of different items, and also they allow duplicates. So we have duplicate values here. So they allow duplicates. So that is what I want you to take away from this video.